Good morning, everybody. Thank you for allowing me to have the honor to be here today and with family to participate and to help fulfill one of the most incredible acts of kindness that any human being could do. It's actually referred to chesed shel emes. There's kindness, amazing acts of kindness that we can do, and then there's chesed, kindness shel emet. That means it is kindness that is saturated with truth. We expect nothing in return here. It's an unconditional act. It is incredibly dignified, done with great respect, with humility. It helps those that are alive, as King Solomon says, "V'hachai yitain el libo," that the living take to heart when we get together for a moment like this. It impresses upon us the importance and the special nature of life itself. While I didn't have the honor and privilege of meeting and knowing Connie or most of the family until now, a couple of years back, was asked to help oversee that, there would be what's called an honorable kavod transition from physical life to transcendent eternal life. And again, I'm glad, and I thank EJ and his whole team for really going beyond to make this a reality today. It is unique to be in a holiday of Sukkot, any holiday, certainly Sukkot, which its theme is joy. Every holiday has a theme, and unequivocally, it's what's called Zman Simchatenu, a time that there's special joy and happiness that's the karma of the holiday. And it's not just one day, and it's not just 2 days, it's a 7, 8 day holiday. And so the magic of Jewish tradition is the ability to coalesce multiple feelings and emotions, and yet do what we need to do and go through a process that takes time to heal, to connect, and there's great opportunity. What's called in Hebrew the word koach is a very powerful moment to be able to tap into the energy that's here today, take it with us, take it with you, take your mother's not only memory but her life, which physical life and living is not eternal, but the soul, the neshama, is immortal, indestructible. In the teachings of Jewish mysticism, it says, when somebody passes away, it is sad, there's a loss, we're going to tear a garment in a moment because something was torn from us. But the Zohar says that when a soul, especially a noble soul, all souls, but a noble soul passes away, is found in this world sometimes yatir mi b'chayohi, even more than when the soul was in some way shackled by the limitations of a body. When the soul is released, it could kind of soar to even higher heights. And I give a blessing to everyone here, but especially to the immediate family, that the memory of your mom, Connie, should be with you, should be a source of inspiration, and her soul should be elevated tachat kanfei hashchina, at the most celestial, sublime, transcendent place, protected by God Himself, and should be a militzat yosher, should be someone that uses her influence to advocate for all blessings and all goodness. Constance Lenore Felton Elias Rakity. Gentlemen, there's a
big dip right here where I'm standing. Okay? We'll step down. Keep up the phone. They're going to square off with the grave. The gentlemen are going to go towards the grave. They're going to square off with that.
This part of the funeral is what's called the Kvurat Hamet, the actual burial of the body. And this goes back to the way that we, human beings, in Jewish tradition, God took earth and formed the first man, Adam and Eve, together from the earth and blew a breath of life and gave them vitality and existence as we know it. And it is the most honorable to return the body to the earth, and this place becomes a place where it becomes a holy place for everyone, but also for the family, the opportunity to come and to say a prayer here, to put a stone and to mark this. Do you want me to stand? Oh, okay, got it. Going to say some prayers as the body finishes. The language of the soul is oftentimes the book of Psalms, the book of Tehillim that was written almost 3,000 years ago by David HaMelech, by King David, who had an incredible way of being able to capture feelings and to connect through prayer, through tefillah, to God and to the soul and to ourselves. We may not understand the exact language, but this is the language of the soul, and it's very therapeutic, and it's very, very strong, providing strength, because the soul, when it physically passes away and it's transitioning to a more metaphysical reality, it's a very tumultuous, it's spiritually very difficult. And when we say these prayers, it is very comforting for the soul as it transitions. Shir lamalot esoinai el harim me'ayin yavo Ezri me'im Adonai Osei shamayim va'etz Al yitein lamot raglecha Al yanum shomrecha Hine lo yanum velo yishon shomer Yisrael Adonai shomrecha Adonai tzilcha al yad yeminecha Yomam hashemesh lo yakeka v'yareach baloila Adonai yishmarcha mikol ra yishmar es nafshecha Adonai yishmar tzeischa uveyecha me'ata v'yad olam. In this psalm, King David says, we lift up our eyes to the mountains and we ask, from where will our support and our help come from? And we always acknowledge, but in a moment of a loss of a parent, of a close friend who has left us and has been on this world, God's planet, for almost 100 years, we say that God will not let us falter, and God will be our guardian. God is the guardian of Israel, does not sleep. And He is our protection, letting no harm come to us. And we say that God will protect us when we go and we come from now, me'ata v'ad olam. Shir Hamalot Mimamakim Karatich Adonai Adonai Shima Bikoli Tihiena Aznecha Kashuvot Lekol Tachnunai Im Avonot Tishmarya Adonai miyamod, ki imecha haslicha lemane tivarei, kiviti Adonai, kivita nafshi, v'lidvarai ochaleti. Nafshi l'Adonai, mishomrim laboker, yachel Yisrael el Adonai, ki im Adonai hachesed, v'harbei imo fetut, u'yifte et Yisrael mikol avonotav. Also begins with Shir Hamalot, a song of going up, of ascents. Mimamakim, we call out to God from the depth of our soul. And we know that even though we can't see it, we know that God listens to our voice. He hears our cries. He sees the feelings, the genuine feelings in our soul, especially in a moment like this. He doesn't look at our faults, our weaknesses, our sins. He pardons us. And again, this is a great moment to, sometimes it is incredibly understandable that within a family there could be some feelings that, weren't always so perfect. And certainly at this moment when we fulfill the mitzvah of burial, we want to be able to ask for forgiveness and forgive, so in both ways. And in this way there is no question that there's kindness that awaits us and ultimately redemption that will come for everything that has occurred, and we will be all reunified with all the souls. May it happen speedily in our days, and may we say Amen.
Just stand right behind here, and everything will be picking you up, okay?
בואי לצד שלי. סוד. Mom, when we heard the news on the holiday and Sarah's birthday, we all joined, and this was the nigun that I felt we had to escort you with. We're going to continue to escort you. It's a nigun, a Hasidic nigun, old Hasidic nigun. For Sukkot. Bukarov. issuing. Mom, thank you for everything. Thank you for being, for who you are, and all that you give and have given us and will continue from there, wherever you are to give us. Even this beautiful day, I feel is a gift from you. I was always terrified and apprehensive and fearful of the moment you would leave us. I remember at the age of 4 seeing a Superman movie of their meteor falling on the world, this huge meteor falling, and I remember going after you and holding on, and I was scared to let go of you. And I said to myself, if a meteor falls, it doesn't matter if it falls on me, but it can't fall on Mom. I can't be without her. And I was scared of the moment that you would really leave us. And as the rabbi said, we're helping with you with a difficult transition, but I think you're helping us. The transition, your transition was so peaceful and so gradual, and just kind of just leaving us and so with such serenity and such peace, with no real suffering and no moment of even gas. I don't know, I wasn't there, but no pain, I think, if I'm right, Les, I don't know. And the moment you chose couldn't have been more perfect. 30 years ago, on Friday night, the holiday, the night of the holiday, I just walked down the hill to the hospital from our house. I lit candles, walked down the hill, and brought Sarah into the world. And now, after celebrating her birthday, and blessings and happiness and being in the sukkah and having, the sukkah is the holiday of joy and beauty. It's making the sukkah beautiful. That's our temporary dwelling place, our real temporary dwelling. I mean temporary because our house is the real concrete, but the sukkah is like a spiritual dwelling place in the real world. And and we make it beautiful. And that Sarah's birthday she reflects all this. And Mom reflects this. She chose that moment. I just went in the house for a second from the sukkah to get the blessing that I wrote for Sarah, and the kids came, her brothers, her siblings, and called me and gave me the news for me it was out of total surprise. I mean, I just talked to Mom the day before, and she was farther and farther away, but she was with me, and just to see Mom smile in the last period where she's getting farther, but then this beautiful smile comes through everything. And Mom, you picked the most beautiful moment to help us, to escort you. When I got the news, we sat down, all of us, even with your great-grandchildren. It was almost midnight, but most of them were still up, the little kids. And we sat there and we sang this nigun for about an hour, and then more nigunim and more nigunim. And then when the kids went to sleep, it was 1 o'clock in the morning, I went in the room and I continued to sing this nigun to you. I felt that, I don't know why, but that is that's the way I could escort you. And thank you for all, for being here for us all throughout life. I felt always that you're there for us, and not only for us. Your love for everybody was so great and caring, and people loved you all around. But as a mother, to be there 100% and feel that loving and care and concern, and you always wanted us to be happy and peaceful among us, and have good feelings and relationships. And I think we all, the three of us, try to do that, each in their own way. And you instilled, embedded that in us, that desire and that belief, and to look back, and I can remember the fights, maybe 2 fights we had in life. I'm not talking about little, but and it wasn't even really real fights. Mom, you never fought. You were just so peaceful. There was no fighting with you. You were always supportive and there for us. And there was nothing to fight about. But one fight that comes back to mind, that wasn't a real fight. It was much more of a spiritual, tug of, what's the word, pushing, struggle between the two of us. It was right after I was in Israel, maybe a year. And I was already becoming connected to just a world that I didn't know, of history, of Torah, of just connection. And you came to visit, and you wanted to go on a tour to Mount Sinai. And I said, Mom, I don't want to go because it's a tour. It'll be in English, a tourist. I don't want to be a tourist to Mount Sinai. And we spent the whole night. I remember it was in a hotel, and we were on a tour. And you wanted to go to Mount Sinai. And I said, Mom, you can go. I can't go as a tourist. I'm connected. I cannot, I'm not, it's not a tourist trip for me. But you really wanted to, and we didn't go, and she didn't go by herself. But her wanting to be connected and was so strong. That's I think the biggest fight we had in our life. I'm not kidding. And years later, you came. You made Aliyah at 86. You joined us. You joined 4 generations. You were the head of 4 generations, and now 8 great-grandchildren. And we were so proud as 5 grandchildren, 8 great-grandchildren, to just be a unit of 4 generations, whether we went to Crete on vacations together, we went to weddings, and you were always there dancing with spirit and lighting the way, and that's it. Your joy and spirit and your life, you are, your spirit and your essence is like a dance. That's every moment that there was music or there was a reason to dance, you danced. Even when you were in the wheelchair, and the first thing when you were getting up and doing exercises with Dr. Push, that's what we called him, was your physical therapist. The first thing you got up when you were able to was dance. We have a movie of you getting up and dancing. And one time we were in Jerusalem, we were in a, it doesn't matter, we were in a place where a lot of people and this and that, and there was music, and we lost you. We didn't know where you were. Suddenly we saw you, and you were dancing with some person because there was music and you were drawn there and you just started dancing, that was like you were 90. That's, I mean, thank you for your legacy of being there for us, for all of you, all around you. And even now, in these difficult moments for us, I feel like you made this beautiful day. You picked the right moment. We're together. I think if I'd been alone without the kids, or alone with Ruby, but I mean without the children, I wouldn't have been able to go through it. And you knew at the moment of being together and joy, and that's when you chose to leave us, and you haven't left us. You're here with us, and I just want to be able to take your inspiration and example of being a mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother with such caring, devotion, and presence, and feel that I want my kids and the whole family to know that the way that you were always there for me and for us, I want to be for them. 30 years ago, or 29 years ago, when my Sophie, when we were here for my Sophie, right here, I came with Sarah on my back. She was a year old, and we sang this nigun, this psalm for my Sophie, Mizmor LeDavid.
Lord is my shepherd. It's a very well known one. So I just played on the violin.
Okay.
A tune to.
Okay. Maybe.
Maybe Vicky and this.
Okay.
Well, when Mom moved to Leslie's house, our relationship was a lot on phone and FaceTime. So we would be together, and we would always sing the same song. And Mom changed the words to "I love you for sentimental reasons." So where it says, I hope we never part. She changed it to, we can't part, we will never part, it's impossible to part. And we were very happy every day singing that to each other, that we will never part. So even though neither of us were very observant, I think that both of us feel that we still are together and we have not parted. We're just connected forever. And she, as Janet says, was always there for us. And we had a good time together in this life. We did a lot of really fun things. I have so many wonderful memories of being close to Mom and doing stuff with her, and even starting with going to visit Janet in Israel like 50 years ago, and meeting Ruby for the first time. And I remember Janet on Shabbat would be very religious. Mom and I would go out in the back and smoke cigarettes and make fun of things. But, we're both spiritual, religious Jews in our own way, and we enjoyed understanding that about each other, that the deep feelings of our soul are beyond anything we can explain. So if I could only be half the mother and woman you are, Mom, I'd be thrilled. Thank you.
Well, can you hear me? Thank you, everybody. Thank you, DJ and the rabbi and all the helpers. Mom brought everybody together through her whole life and was probably one of the most fun people you could ever meet. So she was a nature lover. So to have this beautiful day, she loved animals. She loved people. She loved to sing, and she loved her children, her grandchildren, her great-grandchildren. And when I had the honor of her living with me and my husband and kids, it was the greatest honor. And we would review the names of all the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren, the son-in-laws, the house we were in, and every day we would review that, and that where she's living, and that Larry built the house, which was so nice, and provided that. And my sons were so supportive, and my husband in the last few years living with us. And Danny would be such an amazing, patient person. As long as Mom could, he would teach her every night how to play Connect Four. After the dementia was, she'd still do it, and he'd instruct her and help her to slightly win. And then Aryeh, and over the years, starting when she was 90, I would put together a birthday compilation, and anybody that wants the links, there was the whole family from Israel here, but Aryeh taught her drumming. I mean, it wasn't lots of time, but the time he was there, he was so present, because she literally became the best percussionist, and it was like the heart. It was, she could go for 3-4 hours drumming and playing tambourine and shaking or going to the piano. But the team of women that came to help in the past 2 years, but more intensively the past year, they're mourning as much as us. It was short, but they gave such care, and everybody loved her. She was everybody's favorite. And so they're with us today. If any of you, thank you, all of you, you know who you are. So maybe that was the hardest part, is calling those helpers who were due in Monday night or Tuesday, and then and Diala helped us usher her out, and Nina and Melody and Betsy, thank you. if I forgot somebody, Maritza. So anyway, Mom did die peacefully, and I had the honor of holding her hand. And thank you, Patrice, the head nurse, and Teresa, who helped bathe her. Every week, she would take a shower, and it was very beautiful. Everybody loved her. So Mom gave me this Native American flute. She also gave me a Native American drum. And she went on a trip with Bob Rakity out to the Southwest. And for her to think of this as the greatest gift beside herself and her company, because I use it with children, I use it for healing. So I'll just improvise something in honor of Mom. And what was taught to me is when I say aho, you say A. It means, are you with me? A is yes, taught by George Goodbear. Aho! 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 And right before Ma Sophie died, it was very rough, because she had Lyme disease when she was 90, but I would come visit, and then I brought George Goodbear, and we did that with her, and she loved it. So it's like mother and daughter. I just want to say that Mom was truly adorable, and that she loved everybody, and she loved puppets. So I work with puppets with children, and she's there, and every night we would sing. I was wondering if Vicki would do it with me, the Owl and the Pussycat, but you want to come up, or I'll just do it, you can do it. I'm going to do this because this Mom did it every single day, by Edward Lear. And if you want to look at the video, she tells it with me. The owl and the pussycat went to sea in a beautiful pea-green boat. They took some honey and plenty of money wrapped up in a 5-pound note. The owl looked up at the stars above and sang to a small guitar. Oh, lovely pussy, oh, pussy, my love, what a beautiful pussy you are, you are. What a beautiful pussy you are. Pussy said, Owl, you elegant fowl, how charmingly sweet you sing, so let us get married. Too long have we tarried, but what shall we do for a ring? A ring? Ken, she always would say, Ken, what shall we do for a ring? So they sailed away for a year and a day to the land where the bang tree grows. And there in the wood, a piggy-wig stood with a ring at the end of his nose. His nose? With a ring at the end of his nose. Dear pig, are you willing to sell for 1 shilling your ring? Said the piggy. Mom would always go, I will. So they took it away and were married next day by the turkey who lived on the hill. They dined on mince and slices of quince, which they ate with a runcible spoon, and hand in hand, by the edge of the sand, they danced to the light of the moon, the moon. They danced to the light of the moon. So I held Mom's hands and ushered her out, and I'm very privileged, and all of us who have known her. Thank you very much.
Is there anybody? Ruby, come on up. Okay, so watch your step, right? Again, anybody who is coming forward, just this area right here, please be extra.
First of all, I want to really thank the family, especially Leslie and Larry and Vicky and Paul and ourselves included, because I think that the taking care of Connie, especially recently, was very, very difficult, full of obstacles, and an enormous thing. And I think that all of us did whatever we could for her. And I think it's a very good feeling for ourselves as well. And when I think of Connie dying, what I have in mind is a magnificent, majestic sunset. That's the picture that I have before departing from us. It's the whole beauty of the sun is exposed. And as Janet and as you said, it was on the first day of Sukkot, which is a day, maybe more than anything else, a day of peace. It is a holiday of peace. And the deep meaning of peace means it is the reconciliation of all possible contradictions by something third, but by some third element that emerges from between the two polarities, the two contrary forces that keep colliding. And that's why in Jewish, in the Torah, in the oral Torah, the last word is shalom, peace. The end of the daily prayer is peace. The end of Birkat Kohanim, the Kohanim's blessing is peace. It's always the last thing because it's so difficult to achieve within our own self and between us and in the family and in the nation and between the nations. It's the most difficult thing, and that's why it comes in the end, after all the strife. It's something miraculous that happens, that is peace. And I think Connie was a person of peace, to start with, and it came together with constant gratitude. She would just thank for everything, every tiny detail, daily detail, never took it for granted, never complained. And when she started forgetting things, she did not try to pretend that she didn't. She just said, well, I don't remember. She took it the way it was. And I think we can really draw from her, take from her all these things that are so rare, to be without complaint, to have such a gratitude and thankfulness for everything in life and for everybody surrounding her. I want to relate something. When Connie was still in Israel, before she moved back to the States, I used to study with her the Hebrew alphabet. We never went beyond the two first letters, Aleph and Bet, because she kept forgetting what we had studied the day before. So we had to start again. But I'm sure something was embedded in her, and at one point, when we were studying, she started really weeping, really crying. And she said, how could I live for 90 years without being exposed to such a knowledge? I don't understand how I could live without it until now. And she was really sobbing. And I remember my feeling at that moment, that I'm watching right now a soul awakening. And then she moved back to the States, and we didn't continue. But the last time we came to Leslie and Larry, which happened to be, we parted from her in life. As I approached her, I tried to remind her of that, and I said, Connie, you remember that we studied the Aleph Bet? And she looked at me and she said faintly, Abba, Father, which was just unbelievable. She just took the two words and she remembered. And I want to say something to you, Connie. Going back to your Father now, Father and King in heaven, please plead for us, pray for us, that we'll really try to struggle for peace on all levels, even if we cannot achieve it without the grace of God, of course. But plead for us that we'll be less encaged in our egos and more compassionate, more God-fearing, more loving, more accepting, which were your own attributes. And please don't forget us. I'm certain that we will not forget you.
Thank you, Ruby. Sure. Come, we have, I think, time for one more. Come on up.
So, I'm Steve Felton, as you know, and I just got to say that, you know, Connie's passing is very dramatic and very emotional for me. It's the end of a period of time that I was so connected with. You know, I came to this country as a young boy. I lost my father, Victor, and so Uncle Joe, Aunt Sophie, June, Connie, Ira, Bob, the kids, it was my family. It was my father's family, and I really connected with that. So I spent many summers at the farm as a kid, and I remember Connie being so loving, so generous, and you know, it inspired me. It made me what I am today. You know, I became an eye doctor, and I actually saw Connie as a patient. So, so Connie, thank you for being what you were to me, and I will miss you dearly.
Connie, Grandma, hi. I'm glad I get this final chance to speak with you. It's really fitting that it's the day after Sukkot, because what Janet said, what Janet said about the sukkah being this little temporary living space before you went back into your house. It's fitting that you have left your Sukkot and returned to God's final place. The things I remember about you, I remember so little, and it breaks my heart. The days that you stayed with us, I remember quite well, but one of the few things I remember back when we would visit you on occasion in Florida. I remember you got me 2 gifts, and I remember we went to brunch once together. I remember nothing of what was said in those times, but I remember being just so happy. Grandma's here. I'm having a great time. The days that you remained with us were hard, but so worth it. There were the 2 songs that you merged together when you sang with Aunt Vicky. I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire, and I Love You for Sentimental Reasons. And when you couldn't get to her, I would sing them with you, if I could sing them now. I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart. In my heart I have but one desire, and that one is you. No other will do. I've lost all ambition for worldly acclaim.
I just want to be the one you love. And with your admission that you feel the same, I'll have reached the goal I'm dreaming of. Believe me, I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart. I love you for sentimental reasons. I hope you will believe me. I've given you my heart. I love you, and you alone were meant for me. I hope that you have sent for me, and say we'll never part. I think of you every morning, I dream of you every night. Darling, I'm never lonely whenever you are in sight. I love you for sentimental reasons. I hope you will believe me. I've given you my heart. Thank you, Grandma. See you when I see you.
I'm not very good at public speaking. My memory being with Connie was that that we would get up and dance together and sing together. She would always dance with me. That's what I have to say. That's all. I'm going to miss you very much.
Thank you, Larry.
Those were all in their own very...
One last one, my son.
Right on up here. Just speak to this. Okay.
A few years ago, when Grandma started to forget things, I had told some people close to me recently that, coming to this funeral that I had done all my grieving then. And I hardened myself because it hurt. Because it hurt to miss her. That part of her that I loved so much when I was young, and we would go visit her, and now I'm here, and it's all those things that I thought I wouldn't do, as it all flows back. And I guess that's the power of the moment of losing someone you love. And I miss her, and I miss being young and visiting her, and she would bounce me on her knee, and she would make paper mache and little baking soda volcanoes, and I love that. I love that. I guess I wasn't done grieving, and now it all comes back in this moment.
past few years that she's been at the house, I've just been so grateful that she was so happy and she was surrounded by people who loved her. And she always, even when she was doing bad, she would smile and she would be loved and she felt love and I was just grateful that we could give her that. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Sure. And if you want to speak in Hebrew for those who are watching, you can do that as well.
Okay.
Address some of your friends.
I'll try in English. In short. Savta, I just want to say really thank you. I feel that you gave me a huge present for my 30th birthday. And I feel that the present is the present of life and appreciate life. And I feel that it's a zchut, a privilege to have, till I'm 30, to have a 96 years old grandma, a beautiful grandma. And last year I came with my new husband and we spent time with you and we talked to you and we played with you, and it's so strong that since I was a child until now, even the time was changed and I was changed, you were changed. I felt the strong things that everybody was talking about, the happiness and the smile and like you had your center, you were there all the time with elegant and optimist, and I love talking to you all the time from merachok, from the far and mikarov, and I want to thank you for all the bitachon,
Strength and trust that I felt from you. Like every time I talked to you, you told me good things on me, and you gave me so much good feelings, so many good feelings about myself and about so I thank you about that. And I feel that like all the family here is because of you, and all the goodness and happiness and optimism and all that good, it's from you and through my mother and through all the family. So I want to thank you, and I hope I'll have life like you, like with strong and strength and kochot. And thank you. Thank you. Those words transcend, and we definitely appreciate all the words from the heart. I'm going to ask Rabbi now to give a little more background on about what we're going to do, and then I'm going to explain the actual physical nature of what we'll do. Rabbi?
Those words, each in their own very unique and personal way, I feel like now I know a little bit more about Connie, hearing, really firsthand from people that didn't just know her, but that loved her. And thank you for sharing that. And I'm sure that, as was said, it's comforting for her, but it's also comforting for you. Just on a personal note, I can't not think about my own grandmother, who's 96 years old and is living with my mother. This is all sein gesund. She should be healthy, and we should appreciate the days and years that God allots her on this earth. The actual mitzvah, the actual process of a burying is in its own right not only a good deed, but another step in the process, in the difficult process. Judaism encourages the mourners not to suppress their feelings, but to create opportunities here and beyond to let those feelings to express and to go through a process of loss, and sometimes in an uncurated and unpredictable way. Just that's the human is not a robot, and the human is not always doing things in a systematic way, and we should harness that, because through the process of remembering and mourning, a lot of great memories and points of closeness are created, bonds that last a lifetime in itself. So DJ has some earth from Israel, and so there's always this bond and connection that transcends geography, and so we're able to pour that earth in and then merge and blend, commingle with it, earth here. That we believe that beyond the human consciousness and beyond the human ability to kind of grasp, and certainly beyond our sensibilities, but we believe that there'll be all sorts of reunions that will take place, certainly in the metaphysical, but even in the immanent physical universe. And so, as was said before, let's all resolve in honor and in memory of Connie to continue dancing in our own lives, each in our own very unique way. We dance with joy, and as we say in our prayers, Ufros Aleinu, Sukkot Shlomecha, that God should spread out the canopy, the sukkah of peace, to the point where we wish that the All-Merciful One will reestablish Yakim Lanu at Sukkot David Hanofelet, that each in our own lives that we go through setbacks and difficulties and challenges and obstacles, not only won't those obstacles and challenges bring us down, but they'll be catalysts to find and to activate within ourselves levels of our consciousness and our soul that we never knew that we had. And so every descent is for the sake of an even greater ascent. So maybe in this moment there's a feeling of a descent, but certainly it will ricochet to a very, very strong and powerful, both in the physical health and in the spiritual realm, each one for you. Thank you. So we will now proceed. The mechanics, the physics of it is...
So again, ladies and gentlemen, I just need to take a moment to thank Rabbi Eli, because several years ago he called me and said, DJ, I have this wonderful woman named Janet who got a hold of me. And, there's this little section up at this little country cemetery, and we, Mom's okay, but we just want to make sure that when something does happen, because obviously it'll happen to us all, she wants to make sure she's in Israel, her sisters in Connecticut, her other sisters up north, everybody's everywhere. We just want to make sure Mom is with reverence and respect, and can you call her and walk her through it? And that was 3-4 years ago, and I feel as I've chatted over the years with your family, and as I've gotten to read all the things that were sent to me about such a dynamic woman, I too, like Rabbi, I am still fortunate enough to have my 94-year-old grandmother. And there's something about Jewish grandmas. They inspire the heart, they touch us, they nurture us, they love us. And as I said, even though the Shevra Kadisha is, of course, women who wash and physically took care of your mother's remains, obviously I did see her. And when she got to our home, there's something about that essence of who she still is that was shining through. I could feel almost the song, and that's before I knew how talented each of you were, coming through. And you've expressed that in such a beautiful way. And I think that as we do this ultimate mitzvah, the one that cannot be repaid, you do this with the gentleness of that song and that dance that Rabbi described. And most people don't know this, I usually wear cufflinks that kind of make me think of the person. And for you all today, I chose the Tree of Life. And I chose that because you're all over. But yet, as I've watched over the last 3 days specifically, the roots that your mother has implanted in all of your hearts, they've brought you all together as one. And that's something that can't be broken. And I hope, as an outsider, for me seeing that no matter what, and as Rabbi said, there's always tough times, that you see that and never forget that. And again, at our funeral home, I've always been proud to make sure that we have Earth from Israel to unite the Jewish people from near and far to show our connectiveness. And what I like to do first is, in a moment, I think, do we have the mom or dad of the youngest great-grandchild here? Do we have? All right, well, Janet, it's going to be you then, because they're yours. Because what I like to do is have the youngest among us spread the earth from Israel to show that connectivity through generations. And since they can't physically be with us, I think it would be appropriate for you to do that. Okay. Well, the youngest of the great-grandchildren. So we're in Israel. They're not here, so you would do it for them.
From Israel.
Yeah, so you're going to do it in honor of them. And then what we're going to do, and I just need to explain this for everybody's safety today, we're going to invite you forward. It is customary, you're going to take the back end of the shovel first, just get a little bit of earth on it, and sprinkle it on the casket. That is to show that we are not using the shovel as its ordinary means. And then 3 shovelfuls of earth, and then place it back into the earth. Do not hand the shovel from one person to the other. If it falls to the ground, let it fall. In Hunterdon County, we have quite a bit of stone here, so I would ask that if you can try to avoid any of the big rocks, that you do so. And after everybody has gone, I would ask that you go directly back to your seats and be seated as we continue with our service. At the end of the service, after everything has concluded, what we will do is we will move all the equipment, and whoever would like to stay to be a part of physically placing more earth into the ground, you're certainly welcome to do so. And I also know we have people who may have not experienced an Americanized Jewish burial, if you will. There is a concrete box in the ground that is required by the cemetery. However, it does conform to halakha law because it is broken at the bottom and the casket is directly touching the earth. It's just a structural thing that will have no impact on the religiosity of this moment. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that. So again, members of my care team will be here helping you. Please watch your step as you come forward. And what we would like to do is make sure that you place the earth on top of the casket. The goal right now is to ensure that the casket is completely covered.
Thank you, DJ. And just as soon as we finish covering a portion, then we will be able to say the mourner's Kaddish and create a line so we can walk through. After that, those that would like to continue will continue. We want to thank also Rabbi Abraham and Yaron, who came to help make the minyan today, and we want to respect their time. So,
invite you and your sisters to come forward right this way, please. Again, please watch your steps.
only the first 2 or 3 people need to use the reverse side of the shovel. Beyond that, you can use the shovel in its ordinary fashion.
Just like that.
Like perhaps she's using it the reverse. Just the first 2 or 3 people.
No, regular's fine. Regular's fine. Just to show that we're not using it like a shovel. It forces us to slow down and to pause. If it falls, it
she lived a long life too, as I saw as I was glancing down at the very heartfelt. Thank you, DJ. That's fine. One of the important Jewish traditions associated with mourning is the prayer of the Kaddish prayer. The word Kaddish means to holy, and it begins with the words Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shmei Rabbah. The word Yitkadal means to make great and to make holy. Not only what we're referring to is Shmei Rabbah is God, but the spark of God that's within each person, and not only the spark of God that's in humans. The Jewish mysticism teaches and emphasizes that all creation, whether it's in the animal kingdom, whether it's vegetation, or even the inanimate or minerals, has a real divine spark, and it is up to us to be able to honor that and elevate these incredible sparks. Each one is positioned to be able to make a positive impact in this world, utilizing the skills and talents and gifts that they were granted to find these sparks and to activate them so they become, in their own right, forces of good, of kindness, and of peace in the world. So have those thoughts in mind as we say the prayer of the Kaddish today, Mourner's Kaddish, and as much as possible over the next period of time to honor the memory of Connie. So we will all rise to honor that moment, and we will say the Mourner's Kaddish. Ask Ruby to lead us in the Kaddish. Yitkadash Shmei Rabbah. Amen. Amen. Chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael Agala ubizman kariv v'imu. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Yivarach li'olam olomei olmaya Yitbarach Yishtabach Yitbar Dramam Yitnaseh Yitadar Yitaleh V'yitalal Shemei Dekucha Brichu Le'ela Min Kol Berchata Yishirata Tushbechata Benechemata Damiran V'yalma V'imru. Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chayim Tolenu V'yakol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. Oseh Shalom V'imromav Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'yakol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. Ordinarily, when mourners, at the end of the burial, which is what we are now, and they walk through what's called in Hebrew a shura, the line, and we offer our words of comfort, that would ordinarily begin the shiva. And you'd go, but because we are in a holiday, the shiva is postponed until after the holiday. What's unique is, in Israel, that would be one day, and in America, that would be a different day. So those that are going back to Israel, the shiva would begin on Saturday night. Saturday night as in this coming Saturday night. In America, those that are mourning, the shiva begins Sunday evening. So we're careful to adhere to and to respect the holiday because of its power of joy. And then the shiva is postponed. Okay? We're going to say it together. Hamakom Yinachem etchem b'toch sha'ar avele Tzion b'Yerushalayim. May God comfort you amongst the mourners of Zion in Jerusalem. May the family be comforted by God, by family, by friends, by each other. And I've done a lot of funerals as being a rabbi, and I can see real, as we say in Hebrew, real mishpacha, the power of family, and it coming to such an important use both in times of joy and in times of loss. And God should bless you that you should get together for many times of joy, celebration, and happiness. But when the moment calls for it, you can see the strength and the glue of such a close-knit family really supporting each other. And I'm sure that that's bringing peacefulness to you and in fact to the entire world. Thank you so much for inviting me to be able to be here with you. It's a great honor, and Connie should rest in peace, and you should know of only blessings in your life. Thank you.